Question. That was my voice. I'm not sure you recognize that. Did you hear it?
Recording in progress.
It sounds like. Okay. Hi, my name's Billy Nord. I'm running for the U.S. Senate on a Democratic ticket in Minnesota. My primary date will be August 11th, 2026. So everyone in Minnesota, please consider voting for me. It's a long ways away and a lot of runway. I mean, I could crash out, and my opponents could crash out before then. So who knows? But yes, so. Today is joining me is my one of my old friends from the days of yore, host of the Mary Houlihan Show on YouTube, brand new. She's very smart, very cool. Mary Houlihan, my old bud. Hi, Mary.
Hi, Billy. How are you?
You know what? Since Operation Ivy have broken up, I'm just a wreck. Since 1987.
Same,
Mm,
same.
oh gosh. What? Okay, anyway. Mary and I were talking about Operation Ivy for the past hour and a half before we started recording this. So,
That's right. I was actually playing the bass line for you for Journey to the End of the East Bay by Rancid. I was just playing that for you, right?
yeah,
Dun
you
dun
like,
dun 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 dun.
I was like it enduring. Like, it was so intense. Like you fell asleep halfway through and it woke back
Yeah,
up.
yeah, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I play it in my sleep.
And that is like
That's right. You get it.
beds are breaking and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Mary, thanks for joining me. I'm doing sort of an unconventional thing with this campaign. I'm not taking any money at all, any donation.
Thank God.
Yeah, I do thank him every day or her. Um, so what I want to do is just sort of like hit the ground and talk to people where they are and campaign sort of via social media, which is absolutely free, and just ask people questions about what they want in their elected representatives, going forward post 2024, which was a bit of an explosion, so to speak, politically. Things have been just completely turned on their ear. So that's what I'm doing with this. I'm just talking with friends, new friends, old friends, just smart people about what they can see, what they want differently with
Sure, yeah.
Washington or just local, politics, politicians.
Yeah.
So
Should I say what I want?
I would love it.
Okay.
Please tell me what can you sum it up like what you want different, what you want
Mhm.
less of, and what you want more of, and what you think is good. Like what do you
Sure. There are two things that are so important to me that seem like a no-brainer that I'm like, I just want every single Democrat to run on this. And I think they'll get so many new voters and they'll get so many people who usually stay home from elections. And that's how you win elections is you get those people. You don't try to appeal to rich people in the suburbs. You have to appeal to people who usually don't like politics and don't go out to vote because that's a huge number of people. So
right?
the two things are universal health care because no one can afford health care and a lot of people drown in debt. And not to be a huge bummer, a lot of people commit suicide because of medical debt. It happens a lot in rural places, and we should make it so that people do not kill themselves. And I think those people would vote for anyone who runs on universal health care.
Hmm.
That's number one. Number two, um, get the hell out of foreign wars. I
Yes.
think that's crazy. And I think most people, if you look at polls, if you just talk to people anecdotally, they don't want to pay for us to bomb people anywhere in the world. Nobody wants that. The only people who want that are people that are lobbying on behalf of weapons companies or foreign countries that have their own conflicts. No American person really wants to fund that. And so it seems so obvious to me that people that run for office, especially as Democrats, they need to stop listening to consultants because consultants just talk to lobbyists all day. They're not in touch with what actual real people want. But people like us, people who perform comedy or just have normal jobs, we talk to normal people all the time. And it's so obvious to us that we need universal health care and we need to stop funding wars. So that's pretty much it. Those are my two asks.
The two ask, and they, I mean, they're not unreasonable. I mean, and I think they both go hand in hand, really. Like the money that we could be spending on healthcare is going overseas to help people like Netanyahu stay in office, or like
Yeah, it's stupid. I feel like that shouldn't even be our business. That's like a whole different country. And also, like, healthcare, universal healthcare, of course, means like paying our bills when we see a doctor, but I feel like it also means paying for home healthcare. So many people in America have to quit their jobs to take care of a family member.
yeah,
My grandfather, he had very severe dementia for a really long time. He lived a long time with it, and it was so extremely expensive. And my dad had to take care of him and did so much. And like, we're middle class, comfy people. And I saw how expensive and insane that was. And I just think of people who live paycheck to paycheck and aren't comfy and middle class. And they have to deal with a family member with dementia who needs their diaper changed, who needs medicine, who gets UTIs all the time. Like, it's so crazy. It's so obvious to normal people that like these are the problems we should be addressing. And like,
yeah,
and we see that all these people that run and just take money from regular people and don't take any corporate funding, they always win. Most of the time they win. They don't always win. Most of the time they win. So it seems like a no-brainer.
yeah, I agree. Yeah, people shouldn't be. I've heard stories about parents that um, have lost their children because they had to second guess calling an ambulance because their child was having an asthma attack or something because of the financial impacts. So
Yeah.
you
And
should,
healthcare also means like rehab and drug rehabilitation. Like where I grew up, there was a huge heroin problem. A
yeah,
lot of people I went to high school and even middle school with died of heroin overdoses or survived survived heroin overdoses and then went on to, go to treatment centers and get clean. That's so expensive and it's so stressful on a family. It doesn't have to be that financially stressful as it is.
no, no. I'm just I say I'm for universal health care, single payer health care. I want to do that, and I'm glad you brought up the heroin overdose or just the opioid overdose epidemic we're going through. There's like um, so fentanyl is a big factor. Fentanyl is taking a lot of lives, overdoses, and this administration, it seems like their cure for stopping the fentanyl from coming into the country is just bombing Venezuelan fishermen and making a big show of it. When you could take the money that it costs to do something like that, which is, by the way, unconstitutional, illegal. We all know that this
It's
administration
it's insane to bomb boats.
fucking insane, especially when it's like obvious, like two people were rescued from a bombing and they're fishermen. Like it's proven fact that these are just fishermen that they're bombing. Um,
And
so
also, like, I don't know the exact numbers on hand, but I heard it was something like 90% of the fentanyl that gets into the country is brought in by Americans.
America,
It's American citizens, probably mostly white people, who go into other countries and then come back with fentanyl in their suitcase or their backpack or whatever.
Yeah, they find a way. So like my pitch, in addition to universal healthcare, which, we could talk about a little bit later. I definitely want to dive into that. I think it would be so beneficial to save lives, by just addressing the fentanyl that's already here and kind of nipping it in the bud while it's here, while also trying to stop the flow. So you know what this is, right? This is
That's Narcan, baby.
Yep, Narcan. It's like I bought this on Amazon, two for $35. It's a little nasal spray. You could spray this if someone's having an overdose and just have this on hand, you could spray this and save their lives. Literally, save their lives. Or if they're not having an overdose, someone's just passed out and somebody uses this onto somebody and and they're not having an overdose, this won't hurt them. So, anyway. So I think our government, like they did with the COVID tests using the USPS, getting this into the hands of every house, school, business, place of worship can like substantially save lives. Like within a year, you'll probably see like 50% like improvement of overdose deaths. And
Right. And it goes without saying that people don't want to use drugs when they have adequate mental health care.
right.
So it's much cheaper to get mental health care for people. Like, what are we doing? It's so crazy.
My gosh, like imagine so universal health care just on a number side of things. I think in 2023, Americans, everybody who lives here, um, paid like almost $5 trillion towards healthcare, and that's like Medicare, that's like out of pocket, that's like medications, just everything combined was about 4.9 trillion dollars. And if a study I had read, found that if we collectively just remove the healthcare insurance industry, got that out of the picture, and did like a collective sort of single payer approach, we would take that price down to we'd take it down 2 trillion to, 2-ish trillion dollars. So we'd save money. And think about like how much we would save with like you'd find a lot less like mass shootings. You'll find a
Yeah,
lot
of
less
course.
deaths. You'll find a lot less suicides, a lot less obesity. People who are suffering through obesity. At the just the standard of living would improve so much if we just ended the health insurance industry and just
Right, because we are paying for these health insurance companies to be able to afford commercials, salaries, bonuses for the executives. It costs more. And like, I think a lot of people don't understand that it costs more and like they just need it explained to them that like, no, like think about how much a private health insurance company has to spend on advertising and lawsuits and salaries.
lobbyists.
That costs a lot more than just like what we would have in single payer would be stripped down. We wouldn't need to have commercials all the time for health insurance or like pharmaceuticals.
Be a lot less stressful. You won't have to deal with like phone calls of like people potentially telling you that you're not covered. And like you said, people go into debt and people commit suicide because of how much debt they have with healthcare. It
And
just like,
also, like, I think a lot of people are like, they hear people tell them, like, oh, it's socialism and it doesn't work in other countries and blah, blah, blah. But that's not really true. It works in almost every single country. And all the countries that it works in, there's the single payer, but then it's also like there still are private clinics you could go to if you wanted something fancier and wanted to pay out of pocket for that. So I want people to understand that like you can still do that. You're not going to have crappy insurance or whatever.
yeah, it's kind of like education, where there's public schools and there's private schools.
Exactly. That's a good example.
Well, thank you for that compliment. My pitch is, People are paying for healthcare. 99% of us are paying for healthcare already. Just say, hey, what you pay right now, cut it in half and just have it deducted from your check every week, 2 weeks. Have it go to the single payer system. You're paying less. It's not a new tax. You're paying it already,
Right.
but we're going to cut in half, and you're going to not have to deal with stress of being denied your claim. It's just like such a simple pitch. And then,
Right. I mean, think how many times you're like in line at the pharmacy and you're overhearing every single conversation of the people in front of you who are freaking out and saying, "Oh my God, that's not covered anymore, but it covered last month. What do you mean?"
right?
It's so overly complicated and it really doesn't need to be.
No,
And we don't need to be miserable.
no, no. Are you going through the healthcare decision making now for the next year for 2026 with open enrollment? Are you dealing with that yourself right now?
I'm on a plan through New York State. And well, this is kind of like a funny thing is that currently I'm in Los Angeles, but I have to not plant roots too much here because my insurance in New York is so good. So I have to go back to New York. And like people have to make decisions like that, which are just silly.
Like I met my barber. He made 30,000 and $31,000 last year.
Mhm.
Cutoff for state insurance here in Minnesota is 30,000. So he's like, I don't know what to do. Like it's less expensive for me to just file my insurance, like take an extension and pay that fee to file my taxes, I should say, to
Yeah.
file my taxes. It's less expensive to be penalized to file my taxes late than it is for me to have to like suddenly be thrust into like looking for new insurance just because I made $1,000 more than like the cutoff. Which,
Right. Well, that's a funny thing too, because like, I'm an artist and a comedian, and I try to give younger people advice, and I have given people a lot of advice to like take work under the table, try try to do these avenues where you won't uh okay, for instance, I'm like, should I say this?
seriously, like be as candid as you want because
Okay.
it's
So,
fun.
like, I've used Patreon before, and on Patreon, they have like tax stuff built in, and you only get tax forms if you make over, I think, like 25 grand a year through just Patreon. So if Patreon is a supplemental income for you where you're making $10,000, $15,000 a year, you won't even get tax forms. It's basically under the table money.
Yeah.
And so I have been doing that. I've also been doing Etsy. So I'll make 10, 15,000 on each of those and the government doesn't have to know. And I do that so that I can qualify for cheaper insurance.
Right.
And it's legal to do that. So I tell people you might want to do that.
Yeah.
And, it's just silly for people to make decisions like that. And you hear stories all the time about people saying, like, that they're at a job that doesn't pay that well, but they don't want to apply for jobs that pay 10, 15, $20,000 more because then they'll be paying so much more for health insurance that they'll have less money to take home at the end of the day. And like, and when you hear stories like that, it makes you have empathy and understand for like lower middle class people who just say, screw it, I'm going to vote for Trump because they are in those positions where they're getting taxed more than rich people are, and they're getting taxed more than poor people are, and they feel like, why are we the ones getting squeezed?
Yeah.
And a lot of people just like to say, oh, it's white racist people that love Trump. But like they are going through like legitimate things that are unfair. And like again, if we just had single payer insurance, there would be less resentments. There would be less racism because you wouldn't have to say, oh my God, why am I paying so much more than this poor immigrant or whatever?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And then you have people like Trump on a debate stage talking about how being able to find loopholes to pay less taxes makes him a smart person. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
paying less taxes. He's finding loopholes to not pay as much taxes just so he can have more money in his bank.
Yeah.
We're finding loopholes just so we can have health care. Like, what the fuck? We want to just live, you know?
Yeah, and I think everyone already knows this, but in case they don't know it, all rich people, all upper middle class people do loopholes in their taxes. They intentionally hire accountants to help them find loopholes and tricks to pay lower taxes. And the stuff that they do is technically legal, but it's their tricks that regular people don't know about. So, yeah, if you consider yourself a regular person, a middle class or a working class person, you probably are paying more than rich people,
Percent.
like as a percentage of what you're making.
Yeah. Yeah. I kind of liken it to living in a state that has higher taxes but better education. You know what I mean? Like better public,
Right, yes.
better roads. Like that's similar. Like that's what we're asking for wealthier people to do. Like if you want to live in the United States and do business here in the United States, you're gonna have to pay a little higher tax, because of where you are and what you're doing. And I mean, we're okay with living in like like we don't choose our tax. I mean, I guess we do. There are like public hearings in your town if they're gonna raise the property tax and stuff like that, so you can voice your opinion. But it's like it's just it's a part of living in a society where taxes are a thing. Unless you're like a libertarian living in like the forest or something like that, you're gonna pay taxes, and you're not gonna be able to choose exactly where your tax dollars go. I don't know, but you're right about the wealthy finding loopholes to pay less taxes because they really, and it's getting worse, they really just want to hoard as much as they can for what I have no idea. Like, why are they just trying to hold this nest egg until like
I don't know. I think it's becomes like a video game almost of like, yeah, I just want to make the most. I want to figure out all the ways that I don't have to give the government back more. Um, Maybe there's even like a status element to knowing every single tax loophole. It
right,
means that you're super rich if you know how to cheat your taxes.
yeah, yeah, it becomes sort of like just a constant sort of like you said, video game. I like that analogy. It is a video game. It's like trying to score the points, the most points.
Yeah. Hmm.
Are there any, who are you liking these days running for office? Is there anybody that you really are impressed by post 2024 with just, their messaging, um, their approach?
Well, I love Mom Donnie, of course, and I like AOC. I like Cori Bush. I hope Cori Bush gets elected. I love Elon Omar. I love Rashida Tlaib. I love Bernie Sanders, of course. Um, Someone who I think is really interesting is Oliver Ma. Do you know him?
No.
He's running for lieutenant governor, and you should make friends with him because he's kind of doing a similar thing. He's not taking corporate donations, and he's really leaning into social media and also, says that like he thinks it's cool that like candidates like yourselves can use social media. It's free to use social media, and popular ideas can get lots of views. So he's running for lieutenant governor in California
Okay.
and is running unabashedly anti-war, anti-genocide. Let's get California money out of Israel. We don't need to be putting our money there. So he's a really interesting person to me. And
Oliver.
I think he's, you know, there's more and more people running on platforms like that, which makes me relieved.
Yeah, I think after what happened in 2024, how the Harris Walls campaign raised over $1 billion and just crashed. I think a lot of people have been motivated, like myself, to just Google how to run for office, or
Sure, yeah.
because any one of us can do this. Like for me, it's only going to cost $400 filing fee to get on the ballot. There's no reason for a candidate to be accepting donations, and especially in a time when they're telling us that we're in a cost of living crisis, which we are, and B, when you know it's such a world of like connection that at your fingertips you could be talking to somebody in like Australia. It's just I don't know, it's such a time to be alive, and but also
Yeah.
it's a time to be alive. So yeah,
I
that.
also think like Minnesota is really interesting. Like Minnesota and Michigan, of course, have like high Arab American and high Muslim American populations. And in this last presidential election, I, I feel like people say like, oh, it's annoying that some people didn't vote because of the genocide,
Mhm.
which is crazy.
Yeah.
And I think people overestimate how many like white spoiled college students sit out of the election. I think the number of those people that sat out is minuscule. But I think there's a lot of people who are Muslim, who have family in Palestine or in neighboring countries, who their family died. They're not going to vote for people that voted to kill their families. Like, let's be real. Can we have empathy? Can we put ourselves in these people's shoes? Their families could die based on us trying to go to war in the Middle East. Why would they vote for people that are saying they're going to kill their families?
Right.
That's crazy. And so for the Democrats to just not care about these purple states that are so important to win elections, I think it's so crazy. They have to run on anti-war. They have to run on getting the hell out of the Middle East. Like, it's so obvious.
Yeah, yeah, and to have the two choices of 2024 being Trump, who says he's going to deport the protesters, and a Kamala who was like degrading protesters who would come to her rallies and talk down to them.
Yeah.
It's
And
just,
I understand that so many people can say, well, she's obviously better than him. He's worse. For people whose families are literally dying, you're not gonna pick the less worse person. Like it's real to them. It's not hypothetical.
yeah. Um, we have like 5 minutes, and I would love to know like what's your 5 minutes left. I want to know like what are your feelings towards what's going on over there, and do you think there's any hope for any kind of justice for the Palestinian people who got?
It's so sad what's happening in Gaza. And I think we just anyone who has money, give money to families. Please, please, please. Even if it seems like, wow, I'm really sending a lot of money. If you can afford to send a lot of money, please do it because the cost of food and medicine is so inflated over there. I was talking to a friend of mine. She has kids, her husband was killed, and she has psychiatric conditions. She can't sleep at night and she has OCD. She showed me like a little pack of like 8 pills for OCD medication. 8 pills, 50 US dollars. These are people that are getting bombarded and they can't work.
No, there's nothing.
50 US dollars, where is that going to come from? It can't come from anywhere except for donations. And I think it's so important. A lot of people, I think this is what it seems to me, that people think that speaking up is just like performative. Speaking up is strategic. If we have American labor unions make pass resolutions for an arms embargo and say we do not support weapons going over there, that can actually do something
Yeah.
because that's what we did to end apartheid in South Africa. It actually works. So, something I would love to see is labor unions pass resolutions for an arms embargo.
Okay.
And for people who aren't in labor unions, if you're part of an organized group with your church, with your religion, with any kind of political institution, if your institution could make a public statement for an arms embargo, that's really what we should be doing. Like, it's strategic, it matters, it does something, and people need to get out of their heads that it's just something that individuals do to feel good. Like making these group statements will do something politically. I'm not sure that everyone gets that, so I want to make sure that people know that.
Yeah. Collectively, we'll save. I mean, it will save lives. Literally, it's going to save people's lives. It's not like
Yes.
lip service.
And and on an individual level, it is important for people to talk about it amongst themselves and because a lot of people really don't know what's going on there. What's crazy to me is there's so many people who haven't, it's been 2 years of bombardment. Go to wikipedia.com and read the article for Palestine. Just read the history of the country.
Yeah.
Please, because so many people clearly don't know
Yeah.
how the country was founded and what's been going on there. And I think a lot of people feel like this is a thing that only Jewish people and Muslim people should be talking about. It's gauche or it's rude or for us to talk about Christians or non-religious people. I think it's really important for everyone to talk about it. And I understand that there's some people who like they literally work jobs where you're not allowed to talk about it. Okay, then you don't have to talk about it. If you have the freedom to talk about it openly, please talk about it. Whether that's online or just in person, explaining to people what's going on or asking each other what you feel about what's going on. I think that's really, really, really important because a lot of people are still uneducated about it.
Okay. Mary, we got to do another one of these, like next week or something.
Sure, yeah.
I will. I want. I'm seriously. I want to continue this conversation. But Zoom is going to cut us off because I don't pay for Zoom. It's 40 minutes.
No, yeah.
I love what you're doing, and you. I guarantee your voices save lives. So thank you for speaking out. And
Thank you.
well, thank you.
Thank you.
Let's talk more. Mary Houlihan, my friend, my buddy. Thank you for this, and then let's stay in touch. And bye,
Yes.
everybody. Oh, we
Good
got.
luck, Billy.
Wait, you know what? I got a
What?
countdown clock that just popped up.
I think we have 240, right?
Yeah, I'm seeing 2:39. Okay,
Yes.
listen.
Okay. So here's what I would love to see.
Okay,
I want to see Billy Nord get hooked up with Elon Omar and Al Franken. Um, I don't know them, but I think I'm only a few degrees from them, really. And I think a lot of comedians might know Al or just a few degrees. And I think it would be great if we could get you to talk to those people and make content about you running for Senate.
I appreciate that. I've got really bad news.
What?
Al Franken is endorsing one of my opponents.
No.
And again, actually, it's her first endorsement, Al Franken, and also Bernie Sanders just endorsed her. Um, I like that about her. I'm actually, she's got the endorsement of Chris Murphy from Connecticut, who I'm really liking. But I think what motivated me to get into this campaign to get us to run this was that a lot of working class voices aren't able to be represented properly in Washington. And I have no history in politics or campaigning, and uh, they don't have any real history. My opponents don't really have any history being a part of the working class. So I think my stance still stands. Like what motivated me to get into this election to begin with. Um, but we'll see.
Yeah,
Alfred,
well, I'd love to see you freaking anywhere, even if it's not Senate. If you don't win, run for something else, please.
oh my gosh, Mary, I love you. You're the
I love
best.
you.
Talk more. Mary Houlihan, everybody. Vote for her on the Mary Houlihan Show on YouTube.
Yes, subscribe, please.
Let's keep in touch. I'll talk to you later, okay, buddy?
Yes. Bye bye.
Bye.